good. It's practice.
Gotcha.
Takes practice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find your DJ voice. Check.
Practice a few times.
Talking about practice. We're 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 talking about practice. How you get so good at podcast? I was practicing. I'm practicing. This is practice. This is practice. Welcome to another episode of today's podcast where we're talking about daily habits, rituals, and routines. We're talking about what it is you do on a daily basis, and does what you do on a daily basis run parallel with what your goals are. I'm Coach Leaf, your accountability coach. I'm that little voice in your head. I'm just a reminder, I can't do it for you. Get up. Go do what you said you were going to do. First, you're going to listen to this podcast. But here's your reminder, right? Here again, now we're here. Question always is, how did we get here? How did we get here? We set some goals. We did what we said we were going to do. You set an appointment. I got an idea. I set a goal. I got a goal. And you focus on your goals, and then your goals your days start to align. Align your days to match your goals. Then you'll get there. Right now we're here. How do we get here? Who are you talking to, coach? I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. And I'm telling you what has manifested, what's sitting in front of me, I've been talking to myself about things like this, things that you are very, very passionate about, things that where there's people to be served. And my goal has always been to create a platform for someone to tell their story. Tell your story. Tell your story and tell it the way you want it to be. Tell it how you remember it. That's the podcast. We're talking about how you got here, how you're able to implement what it is that you're implementing into a community, and where are we going? The future. Sounds crazy to say, but I think you are carving a path or following a really good path of creating a future in a field that needs it. What do you do? Who are you? How do we get here? Literally, you gave me your card. Start right there.
I gave you my card. I was here. My name is Chris Carroll. I was here working with Trifecta. I work for Trifecta.
Who's Trifecta?
Trifecta, the physical therapy.
The best.
The best.
The bosses.
The best in the business.
Best in South Jersey, tri-state area.
Agreed. It's a great place to be. Looking at serve athletes in the community, high-level athletes, college athletes, high school athletes, everybody who has goals to get better and stay better. That's where you want to be.
Yeah, and I can personally attest to that facility, to that ownership, to that mission. And I don't, in my opinion, see where you're going to get any better treatment. Whoever you are, wherever you are, and whatever it is that you need. You are bringing a very distinct need to Trifecta. What is that?
So I work full-time for Trifecta. I serve athletes, but I also have my own company called Adaptletics. And Adaptletics is a neurologic-based physical therapy company that serves those who have had a neurologic injury such as stroke, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury, but with an athletic mindset. So one thing that this population of people, when they go through something like this, there's a gap that exists between the healthcare system and then wellness for life. And it's hard to fill that gap without necessarily being stuck in the medical model. So when someone goes through their inpatient stay and they go to outpatient, then where they go from there, they can't go to very often they can't go to a place like Planet Fitness, LA Fitness to maintain their goals or to maintain their health. They end up going back to rehab, back to being a patient. My goals for Adaptletics is that it really promotes like that client mentality, like that really the health service industry. Like it is a customer service industry. And I feel that in the medical system very often that is lost. And the one thing that I think is most often taken away from someone who's already had portions of their independence in their previous life impacted by an injury that's completely out of their control is their self-image and how they view themselves. And I feel that how we interact with someone who's been through a traumatic event such as a neurologic injury and as a provider matters. And so I hope Adaptletics fosters hope and that it allows that person, those people who come to seek that next level of care, that opportunity to seize the goals that they're looking for.
Right.
Like I don't know. I do the best that I can. I've done a lot of education on my own. I have a very niche approach to physical therapy, but I'm not going to pretend to know the future.
Right.
All I know is that in the present moment, you have to go have goals and continue to go after them in order to continue to improve and get better.
Little by little, a little becomes a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Every day you show up, that's in your control. Some things are out of your control. You keep showing up, things happen. Consistency breeds improvement.
We do a dance around and the words are like this: consistency, 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 consistency. Say it, 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 say it. Just start there. What is consistency? Consistency is showing up every single day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Today, 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 today counts. Just like the last time you heard me say today counts. Today counts. Today counts. What can I do today? No matter what the situation is, we're here. We're here. And you're providing an outlet. How important to you personally, to your clientele, to your what role has fitness played for you to lead you to be working with this group of people?
I feel like fitness for me is so important. And that's not only the physical component, it's like the mental clarity you get from this, like being present. I feel like fitness is presence. If you're working out, if you're training, it could be yoga, it could be lifting. Like I just watch the athletes in the gym just like do this workout. It's like hard. It could be running, whatever your medium is. It makes you mindful. It's like it connects you to your body, and your body is this amazing tool. As a physical therapist, like the anatomy of the human body, the body's ability to adapt to stimulus, to respond. Like from the moment you wake up in the morning to when you close your eyes at night, your body is responding to the environment around it. Right. And it's an amazing thing they can do. We see people like the CrossFit Games or like professional athletes. Every Sunday we watch teams like the Eagles. These amazing athletes go head to head with other amazing athletes. But that doesn't just that might be the pinnacle of fitness. But the thing is, like, fitness is one of those things that is an equal opportunity provider. Like everybody has the chance to go out and get some type of fitness in. Can you fit your fitness into your schedule? I feel like it needs to be not if, but like how.
Non-negotiables.
Yes. It has to be, you have to take care of this tool. If you don't take care of your tool, it rusts. And I feel that when those individuals have had neurologic injury, the options for them to take care of themselves are vastly diminished not because of the want or the pursuit, but maybe it's the accessibility and the opportunity to find them. They don't exist. It's just it's a kind of like, it's sad when you think about it. Imagine to not have that ability to pursue your fitness goals. Because
what is the biggest barrier to that industry not being able to reach and fulfill that need? Why is it that it's not available? What's the biggest obstacle?
Like part of it's accessibility. I feel that like the opportunity to get into the building itself. But I also think that it's fear on both sides. It's fear on the provider's side or anytime you're in a situation when you're not used to doing something, it can be intimidating. And there are some individuals who take that fear.
It's a high risk.
Yeah, it's a high risk. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think that if you fake it till you make it type of approach in the neurologic population, it's more dangerous than helpful sometimes. But I feel that there are providers and there are trainers and there are people who want to help these people, and they do the research and they look it up, and if they don't know, they ask or they refer. But I do feel like the need for like a safe environment from a provider who knows, who's ready to break away from the necessarily traditional medical model where these clients are typically served. That needs to also occur. So that's like the goal of Adaptletics, is that it's going to break away from the traditional model while providing that skilled care when necessary, but also an environment where it makes them feel like the client and less like a patient.
Steps.
think about like, and this is something that even as a provider, I've worked very closely with many people for like my career. I've been a PT for almost 10 years. Most of that was in the neurologic population, but I feel that even in being that close to so many people and family members, like it just like brings awareness to like how much like we have without having anything. If you think about it, like from when you get up in the morning to when you get to your car or your wherever you get to work, right? The things that you do and that like maybe take you. I don't know, some people sleep in a little closer to their alarm than maybe they should, but like it might take you 15 minutes to get in and out the door and then to where you have to be. Right. That is not the experience for so many. So just even getting through their morning routine can be like a process. And then like, where do they go if they don't feel like they can even get in the building? Imagine doing everything to get out of your house. That might compound that 15 minutes by maybe tenfold. It takes to get ready. You're waking up at like 5 in the morning to get to an appointment by 10 a.m.
And there's work being done the whole time.
It's work. It's like effort. Everything is like between if you're in a wheelchair or using that for your primary means of mobility, you have to break that chair down, get in your car, drive your car, put the chair back together, get out of the car, transfer the chair.
So it's our job to bridge the gap.
Yep. It's just to make it like, so I think really everybody just wants, I think competition is a great word. Competition with yourself, competition with others, friendly competition, inspiring competition, not just to beat somebody, but I feel that promotes pride in what you can do. And it lets you celebrate the human body, lets you celebrate yourself, like personal victories, right? I feel like gyms like Adaptletics are like great for that because like your personal victories are all over the place. People are here, they're on the social media page. You can see like it's not just the best athletes or the number ones who are like maybe qualifying for competitions across the country, even though they are here. It's everybody is celebrated because that's what fitness is. It's a celebration of you being out there and doing something to promote your longevity. Like being in here today, watching athletes compete, like doing something maybe they're not as comfortable doing. Like some are like really comfortable lifting weights and hate the cardio. Some love the cardio, hate lifting weights, but everybody's here doing it and challenging themselves because it doesn't matter how much or how fast, it just matters that you're doing it. And I feel like that is what's missing for those who have neurologic injuries. Like they don't have that opportunity to try some of these things because like we said, accessibility is one, but then like programming is another. Think about the words adapt and modify. Could be considered synonyms, but they mean very different things. Adapt makes me think that I'm changing it to meet what your body is capable of doing, whereas modifying means like you're not able to do this. I have to change this for you. Right. Where adapt is I match the stimulus. I match the intensity to what somebody else is doing. Maybe if like they are not in a wheelchair, we'll say, I'm adapting this stimulus to be just as hard in a workout that in a movement that you can match and do the same intensity. Versus modify is scaling. Modify is like taking it down because you're doing the movement, but you can't do, let's say like especially like CrossFit, the prescribed weight. Right. You're going to modify, you're going to do the same movement, less weight. You're not doing the prescribed motion. And that's okay sometimes. But that word, if used all the time, makes you feel like not as good as maybe you should be. I can't do the prescription, so I must not be as good an athlete. Now, if you have the potential as like somebody who doesn't have a neurologic injury to get stronger and better, then that's fine to have a scaled workout. Right. But if it's outside of that possibility, if your future is going to be involving a manual wheelchair for most of your life or for most activities, even if you are able to get out of it, but you're going to need it for most mobility, then you're constantly in a modified state. That's how it would feel. Right. So I think that terminology of like developing adaptive workouts, that and then using that word exclusively can be hard to prescribe if you don't have that familiarity with the population. And that's where I think the barrier exists too, is that some people want to help, they just don't know how do I help the best that I can. And I think that's what my purpose is going to be. And my drive for this is because I've worked with so many people who are looking for that, and it just doesn't exist. Right. And I think it was like obviously really scary to go out and just develop this idea.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here now, right?
It's here. It's happening, right? So we talk about how we talk to ourselves. Talk nice. Yeah. It's already happening. It's already happening. It's happening right now. I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Everything's fine, and things are always working out for me. I'm here. Thank you. Attitude of gratitude. Say thank you. Say thank you before bed, as soon as you wake up. I try my best. When I'm in my best practice, I am laying in bed until I giggle. It doesn't always happen, right? Thank you, 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 thank you. How many times can I say thank you before I put my feet on the ground? It's not easy. It's not easy. But with practice, it could be second nature. Constantly living in an attitude of gratitude when I'm not conscious of it is a beautiful thing. Make that make sense. So I try my best. I want to practice gratitude so much that even when I'm not thinking about gratitude, my autopilot is gratitude. And it's a practice. And it has to happen consecutively over and over again, right? That's planning for the future. Where's Adaptletics in 5 years? Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you have to maybe instill in your patients? Do you call them patients, clients?
Clients, yeah.
Because they went from living a certain way to now living this way,
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to still have gratitude.
Oh yeah, it's very.
Really tough.
That's. I mean, it's definitely, and it's something that, like, as a provider, right? Like, I feel like this is like something I tell, like, when I have students at PTs. When they come to me, I always feel like when I wanted to help the spinal cord injury population, that was my first one. I had no experience. I had no relationship with anybody who had a spinal cord injury up to that point, but I felt like that was what I wanted to do. And then my first day on the floor, I realized I was terrified because I was like, how is this person going to want to talk to me after having something that everybody does from after you're 1 year old, and now, like, it's hard for them or they are unable. This person is going to, like, despise me. They're not going to want to work with me. But then the more that I was, like, immersed in it, I really think it's like how you deliver the information and, like, you meet the person where they're at. So in fitness, especially, like, I think I really am all about, like, avoiding words that harm. And I think that we could always, all of us can be kinder to each other, but also to ourselves and how we describe ourselves, right? Yeah, talk nice.
Talk
exactly.
nice.
Because, like, your brain is always listening. Your brain knows every thought that you ever had about yourself. So if you start telling it more positive versions of your story,
I can.
Yeah.
I can.
Right.
I can.
100%.
I can tell your story. I can. You can. Here's your reminder. You can do it. It can be done. Because somebody is I can't imagine being in a position where I am unable to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
How hard it could possibly be. I can't even try to imagine. I don't even want to disrespect anyone in the position to be like, I can only imagine what it'd be like to be in that position, and then be able to keep a positive mindset to say, I can't even stand up. I can't. And now you're beating yourself. There's no way I can. I am.
Want to tell yourself you can, because it's almost like
Then you agitate yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now you're fighting against yourself. I can. No, you can't. Now there's a little voice that's going on in your head. Yep. I can't. Lean into now this is my purpose. This is my for right now. I can, I will, I am. Instilling that mindset, attitude of gratitude, and as many people that will listen to me.
Yeah.
It could be done.
Yeah. I think that in those situations, and it's just important to, like, provide hope to that person. So nobody knows.
You gotta believe.
You have to believe.
You gotta you gotta envision yourself doing what you're telling yourself you can't do. And that is a win for today. If that's where we're at right now, meet you where you're at. You heard him say, I want to meet you where you are. If you are listening to this and you can't even fathom the idea of you doing something, simply tell a different story in this moment right now. It's just give I can energy to what it is you doubt yourself about.
Yep.
Give I can energy to whatever it is that you're doubting. I can, because I can brings I will. And I said to myself so many times in 2013, 10 years ago, I told myself, I can start it. I can start a gym. I can do that. Now, say it out loud to somebody. First thing is questions. No, I can do that. I can. And now I'm training somebody. I will do that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open a gym. I will. 2013, you signed a lease. I'm doing it. Day one. But it had already been happening. It had happened so many times in my head. It had happened so many times the 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing a lease in 2013. But that was all a story to be told. 6 months leading up to signing Set goals and then make them happen. Set the goal. The goal is just a checkpoint. The goal is just a checkpoint, right? Now you have the information. You have the connections. Adapt. We can adapt anything for you. What are you doing? Here, now, what are you going to do? Talk about how important it is to like do what you said you're going to do, because sometimes we get stuck in I will mood. Yeah. I'll reach out to Adaptletics. I'll reach out.
Yeah.
How long you said that? How many Mondays in past since you've been saying you're gonna start on Monday?
I feel like it's always like, oh yeah, 5 years from now or 2 years from now, I'll do this. I'll have this plan for 5 years. And 5 years seems like close enough where it's real, but far enough away where you don't have to think about it in the moment.
Which is why you should always have a 5-year plan.
How do you make a realistic plan for an adaptive athlete when you don't know how they're going to progress?
So I think that's why you have to every day meet them where they're at, and it is important to have a provider that has experience in working with them. So like
many times the doctor said you have a 99% chance of never walking again, and then in 2 years somebody's walking again.
exactly, and I think that's
plan seems
so funny that you bring that up.
make.
It's so funny that you bring that up too, because like that's the provider that I never wanted to be, because everybody remembers that person. Everybody from like I've ever met as a clinician remembers the person, regardless of what whoever that conversation was based around. Like that sentence stuck.
What edit or what is happening for it's okay, that person makes that statement to that person, and what is that person that's saying its mindset? What is their mind frame? What is their education? What gives them the ability to make that statement and it be valid?
So I feel that it's healthcare providers sometimes that have a hard time communicating in an empathetic way. It's that they see so much, they do it all the time. It's their job, right? Their job
and they're
is
just like
healthcare.
flat out. I don't
deliver the information, and the information gets delivered, but it's not in a way that's like an empathetic way. It's not delivered to the individual. It's like they had to do this 20 times.
You
today.
fit in this.
The research says this. This is what it says, and I don't knock literature and research. It's important to provide that information to somebody so that they understand like this is what you're potentially faced with, but how it's delivered matters. So saying that like, listen, right now, this is what we're dealing with. I have people that come up to me when I was in the hospital, and even now when I'm working on like the more in the outpatient setting in Adaptletics, people like, my goal is to walk again, and I like okay,
right.
I respect that goal. Right now, in order to walk, you have to be able to sit up straight. Can we do that yet? That's hard for me right now. No problem. We're focusing on interventions on that right now.
Goals bring goals.
Yep. It's just like, everybody wants to be able to deadlift 405. Everybody wants to.
Now, what do I need to do that?
I have to deadlift one plate.
Okay.
Right now.
Let's practice.
2 plates then. And then
do it the right way.
And work on the form and all that stuff. But I think that you have to respect the goal regardless of how long term it might be, because that's important. And goals are what drives improvement. If you're willing to show up for a goal, even if it's like maybe potentially it could be a little bit longer away than you want it to be, like a couple of years down the road, but like if you're making steady progress and then the programming that you're participating in is acknowledging that progress, whether it be through video or through just like measurements or just discussion, like, hey, remember on your first day, you couldn't even sit up from the back of that chair and now you're sitting away? Or when you came in, like maybe in order to stand up, we have to get better at just like transferring first from surface to surface, or when you were standing up, you were using your arms a ton. Now
Right.
you're using your
Right.
legs more. We haven't taken steps yet. We haven't walked yet independently.
I'm on my
Or
way.
you're on your way.
I'm on my
So,
way.
We know that progress isn't linear. How do you help them through the parts that are, because they're going to get better and then how will it
I feel
last?
like everybody in any type of training, and I have like experience in regular, I would say regular, but like able-bodied athletes as well, conditioning them. Nobody's on a linear path to getting stronger. Everybody hits bumps in the roads, whether it be an injury or like, stress from work, overtraining. Like that's what I feel like I experienced the most. Actually, in the neurologic population too. Neurologic population as well, is that people are unbelievably driven to get better. They are not driven just only for themselves, but for their family. They feel like by being injured, they are holding people around them back and as well as themselves. Even though that's 100% not the case, no one's thinking, but it's hard to get that own thought out of your head. And this is based off this conversations. I feel that vulnerability and just like just being present with them, like allowing them to feel vulnerable with you is where you get the real stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you get the real like fears from people. You have to be present to do that. And I think that in a gym environment, like this is a great environment. Athletics, amazing environment that's client focused.
Right.
Everybody who comes in here feels like there's a part of this building. Like every brick in this building could have somebody's name on it. And that's just, I've only been here one time, and I was here in the parking lot. It was freezing cold. I'm out there waiting for someone to come over for treatment. My hands were cold. I don't know if it would have been very cold hands. My hands are usually warm, but they were cold that day. So I don't know if anybody wanted to come over because my hands were cold, but whatever. And I could tell just from being here for one time that everybody cared about every single brick in this building. And why? It's only a building. Why do they care so much about it? It's because they know, like, the leader cares about each one of them, and that every one of the coaches that he has trained cares about each one of them, and even like not even just them, like their performance that day, they care about it. So that's what's missing in traditional healthcare at times, and sometimes it's not because not all clinicians are not good. That clinicians can be great, but the system doesn't allow them to do that. So I think to have the individualized approach, you have to develop your own. And you have to be, and that's like what Adaptletics is going to do and is doing, is that.
I like that. Caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Right. And I think, and I know that it will be successful because I refuse to lose. And I refuse to let like my hope for clients. I hope that it's the first of others that see that this needs to happen, because it is a very niche, like, approach to physical therapy. Right. But this niche is not, like, we're not talking super small. Like, if you, like, talk to people in your family or friends, you will know somebody who's been impacted by stroke, spinal cord injury, traumatic brain injury. Concussions are brain injuries, right? People who have, like, recurrent concussions have things that they have a hard time getting through after a while. And if you have that conversation and meet them where they're at, they could use like adaptive programming, or someone who, and like maybe they've shied away from fitness in general because of their symptoms. People who come back from overseas, like serving in the military, concussions, super common, brain injuries, super common, PTSD, super common, but that's all from not only the trauma that they experience, but like it could be actual physical trauma, brain injury. I'm not saying PTSD is a brain injury, but it's like symptoms associated with the trauma, but also concussive. Like people are living from injuries that years ago they would not, because of the protection that our soldiers wear. But what's not protecting them is like the impact to their brain.
What their eyeball saw.
And the eyeballs, but also the brain from when that explosion or something happened. Like they may have like not been hurt from physical, but the sonic boom and the impact of like having a concussion over and over again. That stuff shows up, but it doesn't show. It's not like necessarily recognized in like the healthcare community a ton.
Right.
And it will be. Yeah. It's coming. Like that more and more awareness, especially you see it in the NFL, like all this discussion about the concussion protocols. They take it so much more serious now. Even when I was like in high school, they were like, "You just got your bell rung, get back out there."
Like, I know.
You know? Yeah. But now it's like people, professional athletes now, these guys who they need to play are in a concussion protocol and potentially missing weeks of games. That's a big change. Right. That's a positive change.
Right.
But that needs to trickle down. That needs to trickle down though to the community. That needs to trickle down to the community where these other adaptive athletes exist, and they need to know that they have options to support them. That's like what needs to happen and will happen. It's happening.
If someone is listening, someone sees, how can they find you? How can they communicate with you? How can you be reached?
So I'm active on social media. I have Instagram. You can follow me at Adaptletics. I'm also on Facebook, and I have a website. You could like reach out to me personally through there and like schedule an appointment evaluation if you feel like you or somebody you know and care for is going through a neurologic injury and they're looking for that next step in rehab, a next step in recovery. That's where you would find me. But yeah, I'm constantly posting content of ways that even if you just follow the page, like are looking to experiment on your own. Like I'm trying to make a lot of these workouts accessible for everybody just to try in a safe environment. So like you don't necessarily need to go to a fancy facility. Right. And maybe you can do this you can bring this to your therapist if you are in PT currently and like, hey, I saw this. I want to try this. This looks like it would help me because everything that I'm doing is evidence-based, it's science-based, it's safe, and I'm looking to use what I've learned and mold it in a creative way.
Spell it out on Instagram at
ADAPTLETICS.
yeah, website www.
ADAPTLETICS.com.
I do like your approach that you're looking at a person, like you're looking at the person not just as a patient, but as a client. And I think it's so important to also build a community. I
Yeah.
think that's what, for myself, I can attest it keeps me here. Like I started coming into this gym in 2019, but why I keep coming back? Well, I've been consistent this year. It's my first year really being consistent. So every time I come back, Coach Lee, he fosters this environment of like welcome and like being positive. You showed up. You already did half the workout. But
Yeah.
you showed up. Your shoes on. And then and then everyone around him, because the I guess who the leader or the owner or the CEO, whoever, if they foster that environment of you can do it no matter what your athletic goals are, or no matter what size or how you look, or your goals, your limitations.
Hmm.
Everyone else kind of has that same mentality, and if they don't, they don't stay here. But it's what keeps good people around, just fostering that good environment. I think that I like that approach about athletics.
Thank you.
Yeah, athletics. Athletics. I'm here. I'm still an athlete. Some people lose that. I think because I have adapted. First of all, thank you, because you guys say a lot of nice things, and it's hard for me to acknowledge. But you're right. This place is really, really cool, and it's because there's no way you can tell me you can't do something. There's no way that you're not going to tell me that you're unable to do something, whatever that means for you. And sometimes the something is just getting here, but you got here because you talked yourself into it. It's none of my, like, I did. Coach Leaf didn't do. Here's your reminder. Coach Leaf didn't do it. Take some accountability for yourself. You show up. I don't drive you here. I'm proud of you. And
But there's ways you talk to your clients that make them want to.
which is what he's saying is
Right.
someone. How dare you tell someone they'll never walk again? I want to know who is that, like that person.
And sometimes it's not that they.
But I get it,
It's
because
just that
there
they
are
take
stuff
away.
like
And that's why it's important for the language that you use.
the language that you're using.
Not only that, it may not even be the message. That's the thing. It's like sometimes when we're in this situation, right? I've given so much education about like complications that someone could encounter with this injury, because when you've had an injury, it does change your life. And sometimes when those clients who I've helped, as you talk to them later on down the road, they recognize themselves as pre and post injury, like a new life.
Mm.
And that's, I think, a healthy way at times to like cope with this. It's not giving up. It's not saying that like, oh, I'm done with that old life. It's just like, that was what I did before, and this is what I'm working on and doing now. And it's like it's like a gratitude for like, I'm still working on doing this. I'm working on getting better,
Right.
and I'm acknowledging that this happened. It's not saying that this never happened. I think that that's like the health. That seems to be, and without having gone through it, right? I have not gone through it.
Right.
But having been around those individuals that talk that way, it seems like they live a healthier mindset life than those who never acknowledge it.
Mm.
But it's not only that message, right? Because that's how it gets told to me. Like, oh, this person said I never walk again, or I never do this again. Maybe that's not even what was said, but that's what they heard. And that's why it's so important as a provider, as a coach, as a teammate, to like remove words that harm from your conversations.
Full circle.
So like taking away things like, I'm gonna use PT terms now, but like taking away things like tightness, weakness. Like if anybody's been in PT, you probably have heard the term like, oh, like your glutes are weak.
Right.
You know, everybody says that type of stuff. Like glutes are probably the strongest muscle in the body. Maybe there's an opportunity to improve them to catch up to your other muscles so that they're more balanced. That is a much more positive way to say that. And if I said that to you, if I said like, Ryan, if you had an injury, say your knees bother you. Oh, well,
It is.
Your glutes are weak. Your knees bother me. That's so funny. But like your knees bother me, right?
Right.
So if I said, well, you should probably improve your glute strength. I think everybody who's met you be like, Chris doesn't know what he's talking about. Like
Right.
Ryan's a strong guy. How could he possibly have a weak glute, quote unquote?
Right.
But like, yeah, because it's probably not that. It's probably not weakness. It's like maybe it's like, okay, maybe there's opportunity to develop strength more to match the other muscles that are already strong.
Overcompensating.
So it's not saying it's
right.
weak, but that's what, that's like how it's often said. It's easy to say that because it's one word. It's hard to say opportunity for improvement. It takes more effort in my brain to come out.
Jazz, if I told you, you did a great job today. You did a great job. And I'm proud of you. But there's always opportunity for improvement. And you're on your way. It sounds good.
Sounds good. And it's well received. And the person like has that like cup gets filled up. It fills up, even if it's just a drop. Like, you know what? I had a hard time today, but there is opportunity for improvement. And everybody saw that.
Oh, I got one now, Jazz. I'm going to get on your nerves.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to get on your
people
nerves.
People
we got an opportunity for improvement.
People make fun of me all the time. People make fun of me all the time as a clinician, but like I embrace that comedy. I embrace that, like the jives that I get for it but I know it makes an impact. I know that when someone hears that, it lands differently. On the nervous system, it hits differently. People are less like they get less tense around. They're like less tense around you when you're giving feedback because they know your feedback's not harmful. I always like.
I know you hear me, so when you get offended of me talking to myself, when you feel like I'm personally talking to you, I'm just talking to myself. Be careful how you talk to yourself.
Yeah, you're always listening.
Be careful how you talk to yourself. And it's not easy. But we've said all the words in this conversation. You got to believe. You got to have an idea. You got to set goals. You got to make them happen. You got to show up every single day.
And try things that make you uncomfortable. This is my first podcast. So this is like, you have to be ready to be uncomfortable to be better. Yeah. If you're not pushing that limit and you're not like going outside of your comfort zone, you'll always be in that circle. You'll always be in that box that you painted for yourself. But if you're willing to try new things, if you're willing to do maybe potentially harder things for you, whether it be starting a business like we talked about, or, trying your best, like set realistic goals, like for like the neurologic community, like trying to sit up better, trying to stand up better, even though you're not necessarily getting to that walking independently yet, like maybe the walking with some little bit of help is getting better, and focusing and having the community to support you in that. And that's really what I want to create. The whole purpose of Adaptletics is like to foster the community that needs to exist so that people who have had this unfortunate and it's horrible things that happen, right? But they've been through this. They've come out the other side. Like they need a community of people that's not only sort of made up of people who also have neurologic injury, but clinicians and trainers and able-bodied athletes that are willing to go along with it with them. Because I don't in my experience, like it's good, it's helpful and good to meet somebody who's going through what you're going through, but sometimes you need that outside perspective, because if you're only surrounded by people who are going through what you're going through, then you're only getting anecdotal help. You're only getting, this worked for me. Right. This is what I did, rather than you need also to have like that evidence-based approach as well. And someone who's like, hey, listen, that works. That does work sometimes, but not all the time. Let's try this too. Right. You need that unbiased opinion as well. And that can come from people who are just like athletes that want to support the community, clinicians like myself who have decided like they're going to take a different approach to how they provide the care that needs to be provided, and then come from trainers who are also well equipped to train able-bodied athletes and want to start to develop their skills in training the adaptive athlete community. And once that those exist, the people will come that need the care and that want that new experience. Because I will tell you right now, and this is a personal feeling, if this was me, I would not want to be a patient my whole life. Right. I would want to be a client. I would want to be an adaptive athlete. I would want to be any other label besides that patient. I want that label off of me as soon as possible.
I am an athlete.
Yes.
I am an adaptive athlete. I am. Affirm it to yourself. You're right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I believe it.
You're right where you're supposed to be. And this is the start of a relationship for you and I to be documented, to grow from where we are both right now. Can't even imagine the education that you have. I've got to look like respect to you. Be proud of yourself. Stay true to your mission, because it's heard, it's clear, it's articulated well. It's already in practice. However I can help, I'm here, right? And that was 40 minutes. And remember we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
About you getting up and going and doing what you said you was going to do. Now I'm talking to you. Get up. It's that simple. Get up, move, do something, And my thing is, I've been doing this fitness thing for 10 years, so I'm kind of labeled as a fitness guy. I'm not only talking about get here. That business, that book, that goal, that today. You want to write more in a journal? Write something down today. One little thing. The power of little by little, little becomes a lot. I don't make it up, right? So the writing's on the wall. Everything. Fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Take control of your destiny. It exists. You can. You will. You're doing it because I'm talking about the little is formed by listening to this. If you're listening to this and this is helping you, it's happening. You're already here. You're already there. The sky's the limit, my friend. Thank you for sitting down with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm Coach Leaf. I'm your accountability coach, right? I'm just here. I'm just talking to myself. I don't make the stuff up. I'm just trying to make it make sense. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Boom.
That's great.
I found the girl that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
I'm reading her story right now.
Huh?
She was diagnosed in high school with neurogenic thoracic outlet.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay.
And she, went through therapy, everything. She got better. She played like Division II sports, and then she got hit. She got in a car accident.
Oh